Alright, quick video. In this one, I want to talk about gym maxing and improving our physique in general. More specifically, 3 tips when it comes to gym maxing that you may or may not have heard before. So number 1, the first sets are the most important. In other words, there are diminishing returns to the sets that you do per workout per muscle. So the first 2 to 3 sets, for example, they already account for most of the stimulus when it comes to hypertrophy, however, with barely any muscle damage. So the more you go here, the less it's worth the muscle damage that it causes. In other words, higher frequency is generally better for muscle hypertrophy than lower frequency. So training a muscle 2 to 3 times a week is generally better for hypertrophy than once a week. So you can create your own program based on that data. Number 2 is that muscle actually starts to atrophy relatively fast. So in this graph, the lines here are hypertrophy stimulus, and each color represents a different amount of sets done per workout. And basically, you can imagine how the line starts, right? This would be 0. But basically, muscle protein synthesis typically peaks within the first 24 hours, and then it returns to baseline within the first 48 hours after the workout. And this is assuming you're a trained individual, because if you're untrained, if you've never trained before, that's usually going to last way longer. You can usually train and that stimulus may last a couple of days. So it depends on your trained status, but overall, I would assume that most of you have went to a gym before and you're not novices. And so after 48 hours, the stimulus of hypertrophy returns to baseline. And so it starts to atrophy. What does this mean? Basically, ignoring the rest days, you should ideally have a program that puts you working each muscle around 48 hours. More specifically, 48 to 72 hours, if you want to be 100% sure that you're fully recovered. But yeah, generally speaking, 48 hours is a good sweet spot because it usually means you're recovered and you're not training a muscle too soon, but also not too late. There are more complexities to this topic, and perhaps I'll talk about it in future videos. And by the way, here's a reminder, you can join my school community. I actually recently made a workout plan that prioritizes the female gaze muscles, including the neck. And honestly, I think it's the best workout program for looks maxing and for female gaze. Everything is perfectly fine-tuned to what the evidence says, and you would probably end up saving time and money by joining the community because you're going to be fast-tracked into the right information instead of guessing and basically falling for misinformation online. So if you want to access the best workout program when it comes to the female gaze and looks maxing in general, you can join the school community, and if you don't like it, you can ask for your money back anyway. So all the risk is on me. Number 3, have 1 to 2 rest days per week. This is a mistake that I used to make a lot. I used to have phases where I really enjoyed the gym, so I wanted to be there daily. The problem is, your systemic fatigue may not be recovered. There are certain things that need recovery, that sleep is not enough to cure them. And also, if you train daily, you're probably going to be hitting a muscle before the hypertrophic stimulus, the previous workout, ends. In other words, you're going to be hitting it too early, which will not be enough for full hypertrophy potential and also full recovery potential. So don't make that mistake. Taking at least 1 day off the gym per week is linked to lower cortisol levels, which then increases testosterone because cortisol and testosterone, they both compete for cholesterol molecules. And also having rest days, even if it's just 1, dramatically reduces the risk of overtraining. And all these things combined, they will increase muscle protein synthesis overall. So you're going to be building more muscle if you have rest days. So I'd recommend between 1 to 2 rest days. It depends on your split, but overall, don't make the mistake of not having any rest days because there are certain things that you need to recover from that need pauses beyond sleep. Sleep is not enough for every recovery metric when it comes to the gym. So yeah, have at least 1 or 2 days off the gym per week, depending on your program, and you're going to be building more muscle, reduce injury risk, reduce overtraining risk, and have lower cortisol overall. So yeah, that being said, that's pretty much it. Again, if you want to join the school community, the link is at pinned comment. I highly recommend it. If you don't like it, I'll give you all your money back without questions. And yeah, I share everything I do when it comes to physique maxing, to the gym. I share what I eat in a day all the time and which supplements are worth taking. Basically, all the specifics that I do or that I recommend doing, I put it on the school community. I upload all my workouts, all my foods, calories, macros, etc., micros as well, into the school community. So if you want to know everything I do and everything I recommend according to the scientific literature, you can join the school community. And again, I recently published a workout there that I've been following that I believe is by far the best workout when it comes to the female gaze and when it comes to looks maxing in general, because it prioritizes muscles that other workout programs don't. as well as it has the right type of frequency for full recovery for each muscle group. And you can keep wasting your time and money on things that don't work or things that leave you confused, or you can just join the community and get a shortcut to the information right away. So again, I highly recommend. If you don't like it, you get your money back anyway. So there's zero risk. Any of that being said, thanks for watching, and I hope you join the Skool community.